I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
After Japan's military attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor, racial prejudice against Japanese Americans grew more intense, simply because they looked like the people who had bombed Pearl Harbor. General John DeWitt, the Western Defense Commander, felt that Japanese Americans, their parents and grandparents living along the West Coast, were somehow going to join in and help Japan's military attack the United States. The timing of General DeWitt's assumption, immediately after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, made it easy to convince government officials that all Japanese Americans and their families living within the exclusion zone on the west coast of the United States should be removed from their homes and forced to live in guarded internment camps. February 19, 1942, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, and within 3 months, Japanese Americans and their families living in the exclusion area were evacuated. Prior to this, they had been given the opportunity to move east, but the majority of them had nowhere else to go. The internment camps where they were to be sent were still under construction, which meant the evacuees were forced to live, some for several months, in what was called assembly centers. The assembly centers were nothing but racetrack stables, fairgrounds, and other public facilities where sanitation and living conditions were horrible. In the state of Washington, Puyallup, in Oregon, Portland, in California, Marysville, Sacramento, Stockton, Turlock, Merced, Tanforan, Salinas, Pinedale, Fresno, Tulare, Owens Valley, Pomona, Santa Anita. In Arizona, Parker Dam, and Mayer. Even though the barracks in the internment camps still weren't completely finished, Japanese Americans and their families were moved out of the assembly centers, packed into trains and trucks, treated like animals, and taken to their final destination, one of 10 internment camps located in 7 states from California to Arkansas. Tule Lake in the state of California, Minidoka in Idaho, Hart Mountain in Wyoming, Topaz in Utah, Manzanar in California, Granada in Colorado, Poston in Arizona, Gila River in Arizona, Rower in Arkansas, Jerome in Arkansas. The internment camps were made of hundreds of barracks divided into blocks of 14. Each block had a mess hall, recreation hall, 2 latrines, and 2 shower areas. The barracks were scantily built of pine planking and tar paper. 6 families were assigned to a barrack, which meant that several family members would be living in a space no larger than 20 by 25 feet. These 10 internment camps became the forced residence for over 112,000 Japanese Americans and their families. There were numerous other smaller facilities that held community leaders, husbands, fathers, uncles, sons, grandfathers, that had been rounded up immediately after Pearl Harbor was bombed. For many of these men, it would be months, even years, before they would be reunited with their families in the internment camp.
We had a room 20 by 25 feet. In one barrack, we were in one room, and my brother and my cousins in the next room. The walls of the barrack were like these, where they just went up just so far. They did not reach the roof, and so there was space between the wall, the partition, and the roof. Throughout every barrack, people could hear babies cry. They could hear kids who argued. There was no privacy in the rooms. Between the cots here shows that there is a potty, porta potty basically, and chamber pot is what it was. And so that was one of my jobs, to carry our chamber pot after we all used it, to take it to the latrines to empty.
We were given these canvas bags. Later on, some of the soldiers told us they were body bags, but we didn't know that. We had to go out into the field and fill them with hay and straw. Now, I had asthma and hay fever, so that was not very comfortable. I wheezed and itched and carried on, sneezed all the time.
The only thing that I always remember back is that we would be playing outside, the kids, and they'd have these terrible, terrible dust storms where it would just pelt your skin, and then you couldn't open your eyes to see where you were going, so we didn't even know where our barrack was or anything. I just have flashes of memories like that.
When we realized what the camp setup was going to be about, my father said, okay, let's take a walk around and see what the whole thing is all about. And it was only because he oriented us to where the mess hall was, where we had to stand in line with our meal tickets that had to be punched, so forth, that you gradually understand that there's an order to this life.